All right, welcome. Sorry I'm late as usual, but we're here, ready to go. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. This is episode 6, I believe it is. I've already forgot what episode we're on. It's May 23rd, 2025. Yes, correct. And it's Angel in the afternoon. I am, of course, Angel Rivera, and alongside Alex Knight. And I expect Witchy Perfect to be here a little bit later. At least that's why she told me. So about 15, 20 minutes. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Hope everybody had a great week. And so, how are you doing, man? Oh, man.
Good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's same old, same old. But yeah, we're here another week. Boy, does time fly. But yeah, I mean, I'm completely. So let me see. Why? Okay, so let's start off with this because. Hold on. So let's go here. We talked about this Friday a little bit, but
Yeah,
wondering the strike, the train engineer strike against New Jersey Transit in the state of New Jersey.
we're not on this
Of
train,
course.
by the way.
Oh yeah, I know. Hey, Cowboy Kitty. Oops. Sorry about that. Here we hope you had a. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you give me a like if you haven't already. Um, New Jersey Transit strike, took place started Friday at midnight and only lasted a few days because, as I suspected, they came to a deal rather quickly. So the details have not come out yet, as far as I know. I mean, this is a few days ago this happened, so it happened Tuesday. The deal it came rather quickly. So coincidentally, it was the day before Game One of the Eastern Conference Finals. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it. New Jersey Transit strike ending trains on track for a Tuesday commute. 3 days after began, New Jersey Transit strike is ending. Train service will resume Tuesday to give the agency time to inspect and prepare rail cars. New Jersey Transit officials and Governor Phil Murphy announced Sunday night, an hour after union officials confirmed the deal had been reached. While I won't get into exact details of the deal reached, I will say the only real issue is wages. We were able to reach an agreement that boosts hourly pay beyond the proposal rejected by our members last month and we were beyond where we were when New Jersey Transit managers walked away from the table on Thursday evening. The statement first obtained by NewJersey.com. NorthJersey.com. We were also able to show management ways to boost engineers' wages that will help New Jersey Transit with retention and recruitment without causing any significant budget issue or requiring a fair increase. For now, I guarantee you they'll use that as an excuse in a year or two to raise fares again. Uh, After whirlwind 3 days of diverting tens of thousands of people from New Jersey Transit rail system, the agency reached a tentative deal with locomotive engineers to end the historic strike that sent shockwaves statewide just in time for the work week, and also just in time for Game One of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's really the real reason why. To offer an understatement of the year, this is a very good outcome, said Governor Phil Murphy. The sound you probably hear is a collective sigh for our commuters. This is the second agreement reached between the two parties in 3 months. The agreement, which averted a strike in March, was voted down by 87% of Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and trainmen membership. Asked about what makes him so confident this deal will win over the union, Chris Calore, New Jersey Transit president and CEO, said they went point by point through the contract. We learned some important lessons on what the membership wanted, and I think the union this time did a really good job of clarifying, if you will, their positions. The fight over the expired contract went on for more than 5 years before it got to a work stoppage. Agency officials offered annual wage increases to locomotive engineers that were consistent with what they were offered in the other 14 collective bargaining units, but the BLET said its members deserve higher wage increases to be competitive with nearby railroads in New York. providing additional bus service and increasing trips on other modes of transportation from the 172,000 weekday daily rail riders was going to cost New Jersey Transit at least $4 million a day. New Jersey Transit encouraged commuters to consider working from home Monday if possible. The next step for BLET 450 or so locomotive engineers to vote on the contract. They vote it down. There will be a 30 days to bargain for a new contract before the union can seek self-help again or strike. If they approve the contract, New Jersey Transit Board will also have to vote on it. At Hoboken Terminal on Monday, on the afternoon of May 18th, some riders waiting trains into Manhattan said they were hurried by longer commutes than usual. Instead of blah, 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 even when we do drive, blah, blah. So, in other words, they came to agreement on Sunday or Monday, and, and they started up again on Tuesday. And I'll say this for the third time. I'm speculating, but I tend to think that it was just in time for game one of the Eastern Conference Finals because there were no way that they were not going to have transportation from New Jersey to go to the Garden. So, yeah. So they came to a tentative agreement for 30, and then the union vote on it later, which hopefully they will vote it down, but who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? So, yeah, let's see. And I told this to Witchy, is I suspect that they're going to, give in rather quickly here because it's, especially with the pressures of people going to work and really about I say it again for a fourth time, but the Knicks are played the Pacers in Game One of the Eastern Conference Finals, and the train started riding in on Tuesday, day before
And
Game
that's
One.
why they choked in game one the way they did.
Uh huh. Well, I mean that's not perfect, but yeah, that's my speculation to get people to the Garden
Yeah.
in
And
time.
what I hope is that if they get to a game seven and the Knicks, or what I'm worried about, if they get to a game seven and the Knicks lose, that would be the reason why they lost the series because of that choke job in game one.
Yeah, they should have won Game One.
It's inexcusable. Still can't believe that happened.
Yeah, they should have won Game One. Now they're gonna have to win Game Two tonight
Yeah.
and win 1 out of 2 in Indiana. That puts them up 2-1. It's gonna be a 6 or 7 game series. I think here's Witchy. Yeah, yes, sir. So they're going to out. They're gonna have to win Game One and then win
They're
one.
going to game two.
Yeah, they're gonna have to win tonight. So hey, there
Yo,
It is.
sorry. Yeah, my son's father is always late. I swear that guy would be late to his own funeral. Oh man. Okay, what are we talking about now? Hey, Cowboy Kitty.
Yeah, we just finished the story. I just finished covering the story how we talked about it on Friday, but the New Jersey Transit union, the locomotive union, came to a tentative agreement with the state of New Jersey and New Jersey Transit. Just what I was worried about. They would just give in pretty quickly, but
Oh damn.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
My speculation is because Game One of the Eastern Conference Finals took place last night or Wednesday night. So, and the train started back up Tuesday, the day before the big game at the Garden. So that's why they came to a deal rather quickly because they didn't want to be like they didn't want. Oh well, you couldn't get to the game because of the train engineers. It's not our fault. Then they didn't want.
Yeah,
They didn't.
you called it. You called it definitely that it was gonna happen like that. Son of a bitch. Well, sometimes you gotta, I guess, sucker cock sometimes.
Well, I now the union has to vote on the deal. So if they vote
Mhm.
it down, then they have another 30 days to negotiate afterwards again. And if they don't come to a deal, then they can strike again, or there's bringing in the not Department of Labor. What's that group? The NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board. Even though Trump has pretty much destroyed that agency, but there's still some people there. So I
Well,
wouldn't really hold my breath on that, but
let's see what happens. Okay, hopefully they.
I'll keep on with the story because it is a local story, so I'll keep an eye on that. We'll maybe talk about it next week too, but Yeah, the new union president was like, he came to New Jersey Transit. Let's come to a deal, boys. It's like, okay, and they came to a deal rather quickly.
Fine, and I want better pay. I want safer working conditions, and I want my just rewards instead of being shit on every fucking week.
Yeah,
And you want better cock. Not just kidding.
Well, I don't know about that. Perhaps yes.
I had a story here which now I lost. So bear with me 1 second. It was.
Well, it's a good thing that X is back together, so to speak, because I mean, yesterday I couldn't do anything.
I couldn't either. I was telling Angel, like, if the messages thing, if it happened today, we would have been fucked.
The only other option would he send it to you guys' emails?
Yeah, we'd be sending emails. Yep.
Yeah, that'd be the only option if X didn't, get his act together. So
there's still no search bar on the desktop site for whatever reason.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of. Well, there's some people that speculated that because after the shooting, after the two Israeli, consulate members, X was trying to actively, suppress searching for it and stuff. That's the speculation that I read. So I don't know how true that is. It's done on purpose. So allegedly. All right. So this is kind of a local story here.
This is not the United States of Israel. Stop.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, the Trump administration ends police investigations in Trenton and 7 other cities. So this is the Department of Justice, that the Biden Department of Justice started an investigation against these 7 police departments for allegedly being violent with and violating constitutional rights of citizens and being violent with them and, arresting them and stuff with no cause. So now the Trump administration on Wednesday officially ended the Department of Justice investigations that found unconstitutional policing in 8 cities, including Trenton, where I live in, by the way, which is why I wanted to cover this. Calling them last-minute Biden-era moves, the Justice Department said the Civil Rights Division would dismiss lawsuits and propose consent decrees against Louisville, Kentucky, and Minneapolis police departments. They are also halting investigations into 6 other police departments, including Trenton, Phoenix, Memphis, Tennessee, Mount Vernon, New York, Oklahoma City, and Louisiana State Police Departments. For all 8 departments, the Justice Department said they were retracting the Biden administration's finding of constitutional violations.
So they literally investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Jeez.
And Epstein killed himself too.
Oh yeah. And Epstein killed himself, right?
Yeah, that's what Kash Patel claimed that recently, that Epstein, offed himself.
That weird.
Yeah, Bongino, that guy, the lieutenant director of the FBI, whatever. The findings of a year-long Trenton investigation were announced in late November 2024 after Trump had defeated former President Joe Biden. Over 42 pages, the report said the Trenton Police Department routinely used excessive force, conduct searches without reasonable suspicion or probable cause, and routinely made illegal arrests.
And also, by the way, Biden now has aggressive form of prostate cancer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute after I'm done.
You didn't hear about that stuff?
What? No.
It was announced on Sunday that Biden had prostate cancer.
Oh, I thought he said, colon cancer. Okay.
I
thought he had
prostate cancer.
No, that was Jim Ross.
Yeah, that was Jim Ross.
That was Jim. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My wires are crossed here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did not hear about the prostate cancer. So, I mean, I don't like cancer to begin with because there's cancer in my family and a lot of family members have passed because of it. So, I mean, I don't like Joe Biden, but trust me, it's going to take him longer to die because it takes even longer to die.
Well, remember he said he would end cancer, and he said he ended cancer. Well,
he ended cancer so badly he got it.
That's total bullshit because he had to have he had to been diagnosed when he was president. But we'll get to that in a minute.
He accidentally said it during a 2022 speech he gave.
And perhaps that's why he had mental decline because they literally fried his brain with the cancer treatment. What goes around comes around, Joe Biden.
Remember, he was
karma, bitch.
He
So the investigation, they came out in November 2024, knowing that Donald Trump probably dismissed the charges once he came into office. No officers in Trenton were charged for their alleged conduct, of course.
Of
Trenton
course.
Mayor Reed Guscuria said in November the department would heed all recommendations in the report and had already made major changes to how Trenton police interact with with people. Well, I have a negative experience recently, as I've told this story before, but um, the police, I mean, there was a domestic violence situation in the apartment underneath mine. And they came to my apartment and I opened the door and immediately had a gun in my face. So they, without
Yeah.
asking me questions, without saying anything, they put a gun to my face. So yeah, so I have experience with the Trenton Police Department. So
And if they had pulled the trigger, I would be killing some cops in Trenton.
yeah,
That's not a threat. That's a statement of fact, baby. You don't fuck with
uh,
my friends.
in February, he and the police director Steve Wilson issued their own statements that outlined all the changes in the department. Changes in the department. On Wednesday, he reiterated, "We have implemented most of the recommendations in the Justice Department report and will continue to advance reforms in our police practices." Actions in the incoming Trump administration was the fear of concerned Trenton residents and leaders who gathered in a Trenton church in late December 2024 to hear from federal civil rights investigators who worked on the Trenton investigation. Let's see. In a small group session, several asked then U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Philip Selinger, what was going to happen when Trump took office. The team who investigated and wrote the report, Selinger told the groups that are career prosecutors and staffers who will press on with their work once Trump is in office, and that these kinds of matters often overlap administrations, he assured. Not really, because they already canceled the investigation. And that's what our team committed to do during his transition during the next administration. Selinger later conceded in another small group session that the next administration would decide their own policy and direction for the Department of Justice and local U.S. attorneys. And they have. Selinger reached Wednesday at his private practice firm now, declined to comment on the Justice Department's announcement. Dr. Charles Boyer, a pastor at Trenton's church where residents gather, Greater Mount Zion AME, I know that church, said on Wednesday his announcement was not surprising. Since day one, the Trump administration have been relentless in their attempt to dismantle any or all protection for Black people in our communities, to arbitrarily dismiss the numerous counts of violence, over surveillance, unjust arrest of Black residents in Trenton and beyond, signals a level of willful ignorance played out across the country. A group of Boyer heads and Salvation of Social Justice held a community meeting 2023 with Selinger that led to the Justice Department's opening the Trenton investigation. Now the group can no longer turn to the federal government for help. In the meantime, New Jersey still holds on to some sense of democracy within our state house. We call on Attorney General Matt Platkin to pick up the ball dropped by the Trump administration by taking over the Trenton investigations. And this decision further reminds us of what is at stake in every election. We cannot afford to have candidates straddle the fence on these issues, as Trump made it clear whose side is he on. So it's the vote blue no matter who bullshit. And that's another way of saying it. In the state office, a public defender said he was deeply troubled by the government's abrupt ending of the probe. Despite the DOJ's decision, NJOPD remains dedicated to the pursuit of accountability and transparency in cases of alleged police misconduct and to upholding constitutional rights in Trenton and beyond, said Danica Rue, director of the Office of Investigations and Police Accountability Section. In Wednesday's announcement referring to Louisville, Minneapolis investigation, Justice Department said consent decrees would have imposed years of micromanagement of local police departments and federal courts and expensive independent monitors, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in compliance costs, without a legally or factually adequate basis for doing so. So hey, I mean the oversight and all the other stuff we would impose on them costs hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're just not going to do it. Overbroad police consent decrees divest local control of policing from communities where it belongs, turning that power over to the unelected and unaccountable bureaucrats, often with an anti-police agenda. Assistant Attorney General Hamlet K. Dillon of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division said in the statement.
It's
Harmeet.
Harmeet, I don't know. I mean, sorry, I mispronounced names.
No, that's okay. Keep going.
Today, we are ending the Biden Civil Rights Division failed experiment of handcuffing local leaders and police departments, which factually unjustified consent decrees. The Justice Department said Wednesday it will continue to support police across the country with grants and technical assistance. So they're doing the exact opposite. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you more money and more technical assistance. Don't worry about it. The department is confident that the vast majority of police officers across the nation will continue to vigorously enforce the law and protect the public in full compliance with the Constitution, all applicable federal laws. When bad actors in uniform fail to do so, the department stands ready to take all necessary action to address any resulting constitutional civil rights violation, including via criminal prosecution. I call bullshit on that, but what do you guys
said, AKA, we did our own investigations and found nothing wrong. Yeah, go suck a dick.
Yep, so there
That's
you go.
all this is no. We literally investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. In fact, we're going to give ourselves a raise.
Yeah, the Justice Department is openly saying that they're not going to do anything. In fact, they're just going to give more money to police and technical assistance.
Yeah, they're going to give more money to the people who are killing us, killing the poor people. You know, the people that are lapdogs for the rich. You know, the people that love to fuck with poor people. They love to beat us up. They love to point their guns at us and shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? For people in the back, and this is for you, Kit Cabello, what could possibly go wrong?
We own nothing, we'll be happy and eat sea bugs.
And eat sea bugs.
Uh-huh. So, yeah, let's get to... Hold on.
I never really thought an article could make me want to puke, but literally I want to vomit right now.
Yeah, I mean, I have negative experience with the Trenton Police Department myself, and you know, if I would have known about that, I probably would have been there telling my story, but I didn't. And yeah, so let's see. So we get to Israel here because, you know, so Israeli Jews, horrifying. A new poll of Israeli Jews conducted by Penn State U reveals an overwhelming 82% support for ethnic cleansing of Gazans and a solid majority, 56% support ethnic cleansing of Israeli Arabs, and nearly 47% support killing all Gazans in cities captured by the IDF.
Of course!
So, these are
because
Israeli
they have
Jews.
Become the Nazis!
Yep. So this is the actual question. Do you support the claim that the IDF in conquering an enemy city should act in a manner similar to the way the Israelites did when they conquered Jericho under the leadership of Joshua to kill all the inhabitants?
That was a bogus story in the Bible. There was no walls of Jericho. Story.
No, but it's funny. It says Jericho.
Yeah, fuck Jericho. Hey, Jericho, go suck a dick. All right?
It's the city of Jericho in the Bible. 47% all respondents answered in the affirmative.
No, Steph, that makes you a dirty, filthy, disgusting. You know what?
Thank you.
Yeah, 47% of all respondents answered in the affirmative. 65% of those surveyed answered that there was a current incarnation of Amalek, and those 93% responded that the mitzvah to erase the memory of Amalek was also relevant. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that is. But
sounds like Amtrak.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to show this, Israeli Jews.
Not really a fan of Abby Martin, though.
Yeah, really. Fuck you, Abby Martin. Go suck a dick. Maybe you'll get somewhere.
Well, she does.
There you go. She sucks a lot of dick. The right dick, apparently.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't like her.
So let's get to this.
Her husband. I don't like her husband either. So.
Yeah, fuck her husband. I don't know who her husband is.
What's it? Mike Peisner, the former Iraqi.
Gabby Martin.
Yeah, he's a veteran of the Iraq War, I believe, if I remember correctly.
And with Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you've seen that photo before.
Yeah, well, that's
why. Good. We're getting to this one. Get better psyops, people.
Oh, yeah.
This is just a psyop. This is literally crap. It is fake. Fake news.
Uh-huh. So this is a false flag. Former IDF war criminal Yaron Linsky gets smoked outside of a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. Whether it's a false flag or not, our ruling class will 100% use this to crack down on free speech in the Free Palestine movement, which is what the whole point is. Indy says this. I'll only add that the result mostly benefits Israel's agenda in multiple ways, including stoking anti-Iranian sentiments.
And what did I tell you, Angel, yesterday or this morning?
Yeah.
What did I tell you? That literally this is a psyop to literally get. I don't know if I told you this, but I did on Snow's website or X. And I wasn't getting any notifications, so I don't know if anyone liked it or not. But I literally said this is a retaliation, and all this is going to do is literally Gaza is literally going to be demolished. I mean, we already knew this was going to happen, but this false flag is literally just another reason why Israel is going to be like, well, we have to get rid of people in Gaza.
Yep. Waiting for the announcement that connects the murder to Iran to fit the narrative CIA, Betar,
Iran
and
too, yeah.
To push.
Well, we have to hit Iran.
Bernie and AOC, they all, acted. They all
are complicit, yeah.
And even Rashid Tlaib, who's supposed to be, who is Palestinian, who's she's against Israel. She even, Kate said she was saddened by the deaths of those people. So
of course,
except Thomas Massie, I guess.
Hey, money talks and bullshit walks, and if you suck the right dick, trust me, you're going to be saying it too. This goes back to the same thing that they're trying to do. They tried to get consent. Trump got shot. No, Trump didn't get shot. Okay, but it got him into the White House, did it not?
Yeah. He got shot at. He didn't really get shot.
Yeah, he got maybe shot at, but he didn't get shot.
Yeah, he got shot at. Let's put it like that, because there was a guy behind him that was killed. He's a firefighter, so there's definitely somebody who died. So he was shot at. Let's say.
Not Trump. Trump's life was never in danger, and he never got shot.
Yeah, so this is Nick Cruz from Hotspot and RBN. So I want to play this. It's only a couple minutes, so let's.
A former IDF war criminal was smoked outside of a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. by a lone shooter who was arrested while shouting "Free Palestine." Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
And he's Jewish.
Free Palestine! I'm sorry, but this story just absolutely reeks of a false flag. Wait, you're telling me that this shooter killed 2 members of the protected class while being arrested peacefully and given an opportunity to have a glamour shot and scream "Free Palestine" at the camera? Well, I guess our First Amendment is officially done for. Whether this is a false flag or not is mostly irrelevant. Our government will still take advantage of this to roll back our rights and expand state power. The talking points are already out, with Zionists claiming that the Free Palestine movement want to globalize the intifada and murder all Jews. No, we want you guys to stop murdering children.
This is a moment when we need to look ourselves.
I hate this motherfucker. I mean, he's from the 80s.
And Fox News, after this is done, Fox News was doing the same fucking thing.
Dana Bash did it too.
Dana Bash did it too.
Yeah, they all reading the talking points
in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
When you have protesters chanting "globalize the Intifada" in the streets of major cities, this is what they mean.
Free Palestine.
No, it doesn't, fucker.
We hear that on the streets. We hear that on college campuses. And there are a lot of people who have been worried that has been turned into a call to arms and a call to action and violence.
In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get
after we put the Japanese Americans in internment camps, you dumb motherfucker. We took these Japanese Americans' rights away.
Are you suggesting we nuke Gaza? You understand what that means, right?
Yes, that's why they wanted this psyop to happen. This was planned by the working class, or not by the working class, excuse me. This was planned by the rich and the wealthy to literally get rid of free speech and get rid of Free Palestine protesters because they're sick and tired of poor people having a voice.
You do understand if we nuke Gaza, it's going to end up in Israel, a lot of the fallout. So that's the last thing.
I just want to mention, it never gets old how people respond to Randy Fine. I'm sure you see the pics of him really big. I'm sure you see it, right?
He's been blocking people for that, making fun of his weight. So.
Have you seen it too, Steph?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking little snowflakes can't handle the heat, so they just go on Fox News.
And in fact, Johnny Graz made the funny meme. What was it? Eat real pie or whatever he said, or
something like that. Moon pie.
To get unconditional surrender, that needs to be the same here.
You guys see how the story is designed to distract from the fact that these people are committing a genocide, and the fact that they want to legitimize their anti-Semitism hoax so they can crack down on the free speech of Americans. The guy that was murdered wasn't even Jewish. He's a Christian Zionist traitor.
Bam!
There you go. He was not even Jewish.
I hate to say, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
Who volunteered and served in the Israeli rape army and did propaganda for them at the embassy.
Thank you!
Calling an anti-Semitic attack doubly deranged and actually the height of anti-Semitism by conflating Israel and non-Jewish Israelis with all Jews. So I didn't even know this. Turns out he's not even Jewish. I assumed he was based off his name.
I heard he wasn't Jewish.
Well, I learned something new there. But
who served in the IDF, who called for Israel to murder more children. Direct action targeting genocide supporters have nothing to do with Jewish hate or anti-Semitism. So false flag or not, you guys notice how the ruling class takes advantage of these events in order to push their narrative and crack down on dissent. And this is something that we should absolutely not tolerate.
No, and we shouldn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like literally on Fox News, they were saying the same exact thing that they were saying on CNN and MSNBC, where, Israel has a right to defend itself. I went, you dumb motherfuckers.
That's the same talking point we always get.
Right. All this means is that they're going to have a psyop to crack down on free speech even further. Again, Israel, everyone talks bad about Israel. If you talk for Palestine, you literally are kicked off the internet and literally stoned almost to death.
But Steph, do you support Hamas? Do you support Hamas?
Yes, I do. And if you got a problem with that, suck a dick.
And what's really interesting, we've heard the stupid statements from Bernie, AOC, Rashid Tlaib, and I think Ro Khanna, all the others. I haven't heard from Tulsi Gabbard, which is very interesting.
Do you really want to hear from Tulsi Gabbard about this?
I know, I didn't say that. I'm just surprised I haven't heard.
I was going to say, she's too busy sucking dick so we can get into some more wars.
Yeah. So...
and she was in the war, I heard. Well, what I was saying earlier... Sorry, hang on one second, Angel. What I was saying earlier about who speaks very eloquently about this is George Carlin. Talks about your fucking precious rights are nothing but fucking privileges, and they can be taken from you. If you don't believe me, look up Japanese Americans 1942 when we put them in fucking internment camps because they were Japanese Americans. They didn't do a fucking thing, and yet we put them in internment camps.
It's all one big club, and we ain't in it.
Yep. So Fiorella I like what she said here. It's a whole paragraph. Look at the whole article, but. Real quick, let me make it very clear. The assassination of Israeli Christian Zionist embassy staff by Elias Rodriguez is just extremely sus, as he reportedly stated and ensured everyone filmed him shouting "Free Palestine." The manifesto released to one of the most unreliable establishment sources cosplaying as independent journalists. In a process we know nothing about. If we've been here before, haven't we? False flags are American as apple pie. This comes as Israel unleashed one of the worst massacres in recent history, again against Gaza refugees, killing at least 500 souls in a week. The majority of the world has turned against it for months of atrocities. So sure, something like this would, in the West at least, have to affect the protesting and support. It would work in favor of Israel to a degree, but the people saying this is going to hurt the movement for Palestine. I asked what movement and from what. The U.S. media and government has not only been ignoring this genocide for almost 2 years, but entirely justifying it while our government funds it. The Palestinian movement as a whole has been vilified and persecuted by both Democrats and Republicans. And this now being used to expand the surveillance state. In the U.S., this movement is very weak and relies on lack of understanding of history, U.S. interventionism, and foreign policy related to Palestine. What change other than added the need to stand against this violence? How can you, when it's happening and our tax dollars are complicit in a modern day Holocaust? Are you truly standing against it by not doing enough?
By the way, I just want to mention one thing. There's also that there's a Democratic Socialist, Angel, you and I have talked about him before, that's running, for New York, is that correct?
Yeah, New York mayor.
Yeah, I believe he's Palestinian, and even he's recently said that Israel has the right to exist, or he recognizes...
Defended, so. Yeah, Israel right to this. Yeah, if you run for office, especially even as a Democrat, you have to say that, or else you're not going to win. You get kicked out of the party.
It doesn't matter if you're Justice Democrat.
Got attacked from the Israel accounts or whatever.
Well, yeah, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't, full capitulation to Israel. If it wasn't for this incident, they just use another, even manufacture consent like they've been doing by making Zionists the victims as they murder children on the daily. Most in West Asia didn't even bat an eye other than to laugh if in the West they think that they will stop focusing on what Israel is doing over this. If that's what you believe, then you know nothing about armed resistance or the plight of the Palestinians. Whether the manifesto is real, of course, is inherently correct in the statement, especially this. The atrocities committed by the Israelis against Palestine defy description and defy quantification. Zionists don't need an excuse. They will create one as they've had for decades. Western pundits, merely focused on how bad this is for Palestine, are thinking about their own virtue signaling as children are being starved to death, families being bombed, and people burned alive in refugee camps and hospitals full of rubble. They condemn what Yemen is doing as an act of war, what protesters do, what Aaron Bushnell did, or what Luigi Mangione did. That's going too far. Is it when nothing changes? Doesn't the fault that then lie with the lack of action as the ultimate culprit? And these are the consequences of those silent perpetrators. In war, it does, and we are at war against a fascist entity, whether we realize it or not. Hundreds of thousands are being exterminated in the Holocaust, and if you think that an act or either desperation or entire manipulation is going to throttle a movement that is inherent in every Palestinian and resistance born human that experienced such violence and destruction, you can't even conceive in your mind. You don't understand resistance at all. So kindly to all the clutching their pearls about how this goes too far, to those with wide open mouths aghast saying they condemn this heinous act. Nobody cares about your condemnations or your virtue signals. So ever kindly shut the entire fuck up, sit down and learn a little bit about the world outside your safe Western quarters. You wouldn't even survive half a day.
Yay! Yeah, that's right. Shut the fuck up and suck a dick. Because we don't believe your stupid bullshit psyops. No.
So this guy murdered these two alleged Jews, because really one of them was a Zionist Christian, and this guy went to a hospital, just sat there like, oh yeah, call 911, I killed 2 people, and he just sat there waiting for the police. And then conveniently, you get this, and you have time to do this.
Oh God! No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
There you go. That's what he did. He had time to do that.
But I just want to say, what's going on with the chat? How come only Cowboy Kitty's only chatting here? Where are the others?
Yeah, where is everybody?
Well, there are viewers
night, right?
on here. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
I hope I didn't scare anybody away. I'm just telling the truth. I mean, if you really do look up Japanese Americans 1942, you will find that we put them in internment camps because they were Japanese Americans.
Yep. So let's get to this real quick. This is not long. Oops.
All I can say to that is get better psyops. Literally, this is just going to, you must be an Arab lover. No, I'm not an Arab lover just because I want children to stop fucking dying, motherfuckers. Because I guarantee you what they do over in Gaza, they will do here, motherfuckers. They will bomb your kids too.
Yep. So this is an Arab from Israeli Knesset member, Oman Odeh, gets forcibly removed from the podium and out of the Knesset due to his criticism of civilian death toll in Gaza. So this is an Arab Jew who's, in the Knesset, basically, asking why are we doing this, and of course he gets kicked out by the Zionists. So.
שאתם לא יודעים כמה אני רואה אתכם חלשים. אתם אנשים חלשים.
What was that?
You have to scroll down a bit because we can't see all of the subtitles.
Oh.
There we go.
So start from the beginning.
Oh, sorry about that.
הדבר האחר שאני רוצה להגיד, שאתם לא יודעים כמה אני רואה אתכם חלשים. אתם אנשים חלשים. חלשים מאוד מאוד מאוד. אחרי שנה וחצי על מלחמה שהרגתם בה 19,000 ילדים, 53,000 תושבים, הרסתם את כל האוניברסיטאות, את כל בתי החולים, ואתם, אין ניצחון פוליטי. אתם מרגישים שאין ניצחון פוליטי, לכן משתגעים. למה אתם משתגעים? למה אתם חלשים? למה אתם עצובים? למה אתם לא שמחים? למה שאין ניצחון פוליטי? רק מלחמה נגד חפים מפשע. רק מלחמה נגד חפים מפשע. זה מה שאתם עושים.
Imagine a member of Congress getting kicked out like that.
Our Congress is all bought off.
So that wouldn't happen.
Wait to suck a dick.
Except Thomas Massey, apparently.
No, I think that's just a carrot being dangled over the poor's heads.
Trump is at war allegedly with Thomas Massey, trying to get him.
If that's true, they would have JFK'd him a long time ago.
Cowboy Kitty says he's driving, but he's checking out the show still. Thank you. Stay safe out there. Don't. Oops.
Where's everybody else? Tell everybody else. I mean, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I shared the stream, so they'll be here eventually. We still got time. This is interesting. I thought a former MI5 officer, which is the UK's intelligence agencies, Annie McMahon, I'm about to say McMahon, admitted that the Mossad bombed the Israeli embassy in London in 1994 and then pinned it on two Palestinians activists. Salmar Alami and Jawad Botma were both handed 20-year sentences for a crime they didn't commit, a textbook false flag. So there's a history of this, which is why people are saying that the guy who killed these two Jews are Christian Zionists were, that's a false flag. So.
But the two cases that really got us, first of all, there was a false flag attack in London in 1994, where a car bomb exploded outside the Israeli embassy in the centre of London.
Now, I remember this vaguely. We're talking 14 years ago.
It's a long time
ago. But it was huge.
Actually, but 30 years ago.
14 years ago. So this was like, what, 2008?
This had to be filmed around 2008, yeah.
At the time, it was a huge worldwide story.
Yeah. In fact, there'd been an earlier attack against some Jewish interest section in Buenos Aires earlier that year as well. Similar sort of MO, modus operandi, with a car bomb driven and parked outside that exploded. Very minor injuries, that was all. Okay. Nobody was killed. And it was a very sophisticated device. It appeared to eat itself, eat all the forensics. Now, this is very, very rare. Even the IRA, which is a very sophisticated terrorist organisation, could not make bombs that effective. So it looked like sort of fairly technical person who put that together. But what emerged from that, the senior MI5 officer who was in charge of the investigation into it and had seen all the evidence but also all the intelligence, which isn't necessarily admissible in court, wrote his formal assessment at the end of the case. And he said he reckoned that Mossad, the Israeli external intelligence agency, had bombed their own embassy. A sort of controlled explosion outside the embassy. And as I said, that was a senior MI5 officer.
Right after they killed JFK, huh?
So the intelligence MI5 knew that it was Mossad who did it, but they let these two Palestinians get arrested for it and serve 20 years in prison when the Mossad or the MI5 knew they didn't do it.
Right.
I mean, it's not surprising there.
Verdict. If you read that on the internet now, you would say that sounds like some mad conspiracy theory. But it wasn't. This was the official position of MI5. And he said that they did it for two reasons. One, they were always hassling MI5 for increased security around their embassy and other interests in London. Because, of course, London had a reputation of giving safe haven to Arab dissidents from around the world at that point. And MI5 kept saying, well, there's no reason to increase the threat assessment. You don't need extra protection. So letting off a controlled explosion outside, of course, they immediately got what they wanted there. But crucially, 2 innocent Palestinians were arrested, charged and convicted of conspiracy to cause that attack. And they were very active in a Palestinian support network in London, political campaigning for the people on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And they were gaining some traction in the media. They were getting quite a lot of support. So by arresting these people and framing them for an attack and sticking them in prison, the whole network just shattered and hasn't got back on its feet to this day. So that would be a clear political...
That's the whole point.
I mean, show of hands of how many people have read Lisa Peasy's book about RFK. Here we're talking about an innocent Palestinian, again, was framed for the murder of RFK.
Yeah.
And literally...
Yeah, that's true.
And Israel had mostly to do with it.
Yeah,
and JFK too.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought you meant JFK. It's like,
well,
no,
JFK
they pinned that on Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right, but Israel did. I mean, the files that we got, even though they were complete bullshit and we already knew it, literally had everything redacted from Israel. Okay, so Israel had a lot to lose with JFK still alive. He was ready to, I don't know, sanction them somehow. I'm not, it wasn't exactly sanctions, but it was something like that. They were going to crack down on Israel. So Israel couldn't have that. So Israel got rid of JFK. They got rid of RFK as well.
Well, the Kennedys, or at least those two Kennedys, were anti-Zionists. So the today's Kennedy family are not, but they got
are actually Zionists.
They got the message from from the deaths of JFK.
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
As Jimmy Dore would say, they got their minds right.
Yeah, they got their minds right. That's right. RFK Jr. got his mind right because he can't beat them, so he'd rather just join him.
They killed his dad, and his uncle.
And he just went, oh well, fuck it, I'll just suck your dick anyway. My point is, they also, you don't even have to look that far in 1994 or JFK or RFK. Literally, Israel was also responsible, along with the Saudi government, for 9/11. 9/11. Israel fucked us on 9/11. Boy, what a shocker. They also had redacted
wasn't stuff. The Islamist jihadist terrorists?
No! Imagine that. No. That Israel would want to actually frame Arabs for that.
It's total bullshit. It turns out it was 18 of the 21 hijackers were Saudi, and they somehow pinned it on Afghanistan and Osama bin Laden.
Which we also went to Iraq for that.
Yeah, the invasion was in Afghanistan initially, and then they were like, and General Wesley Clark talked about this, like, why are we going into Iraq? He's like, well, it's what the administration wants, and they have the evidence, which turns out it was false evidence, of course, and that's how we got into Iraq. So
they got the weapons of mass destruction. Where? Up my ass.
Yeah, that was nothing.
That was Big Show's move. Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah,
up his ass.
They got nothing, and they got nothing. And one of the inspectors for the UN at the time was Scott Ritter, and he said there was nothing there.
There was nothing there, even before Scott Ritter was. Before Scott.
Well, that's not what Scott Ritter would say now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He turned to the dark side. He became a Sith.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
but at the time he said, we got nothing, and the administration still invaded. So what's interesting is now Iran is they're saying that they will hold the U.S. accountable for any Israeli attack because Israel is openly talking about attacking Iran's military and attacking their nuclear facilities. So it's like, okay, well, if Israel actually does an attack, then we're going to blame the U.S. for it. Why? Like we talked about last week with Nayib Bukele.
Hey, Golden.
Oh, Golden's here.
Everybody's driving today. Why are you driving? Where are you going?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like we talked about last week when Nayib Bukele.
Might as well get the fuck out of here, because guess what?
Yeah, Israel is funding Nayib Bukele's government in El Salvador. So it's I said and we said last week that no, I mean, if it's Israel, then it's definitely the U.S. because we fund 90+% of the military anyways.
And guess what? If we have a war with Iran, well, all of our political leaders will have a wet dream and literally come on themselves. And so will the rich people who are funding them and building up the military-industrial complex. But also, I mean, this is literally what we don't want. We will lose. We're already overextended. This is how the Roman Empire ended. We are overextended, and literally there are people in the streets. Not that rich people give a fuck, but I mean, what I mean is we have to look out for ourselves, guys. The rich people are not going to help you. I was reading or I was listening to the audiobook of "You Will Own Nothing" from Carol Roth. And all I kept saying after everything she would say is literally, the rich don't give a fuck. The rich don't care. The rich don't care. They don't care, or they would actually help people. They don't want to help poor people. They hate you. They hate me. They do not like poor people. They think we are inferior. They do not want us around. They think we're cockroaches.
Yes, so as everybody knows, this is Iran, allegedly is building a nuclear weapon. The Trump administration is going back to that talking point, even though, again, when Obama did the Iran nuclear deal, they inspected him like crazy, and there's no evidence they were ever doing a nuclear
They were following the plan. That's what Scott Ritter said. They were following the plan.
And they tortured some folks.
Oh, God. I wish they had tortured the rich.
So, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said in a letter to the UN that Tehran will hold the U.S. responsible for any Israeli attack in the nuclear facilities. The letter was a response to recent media reports that said Israel is preparing an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. Sources told CNN that the attack would come if Israel isn't happy with the negotiated deal between the U.S. or Iran, or if Israel wants to sabotage an agreement from even being reached.
Israel's never going to be happy.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy with any fucking version. They're not going to be happy with any deal with Iran in the U.S. In the Trump administration, no matter what they do, they're not going to be happy with it. Netanyahu's itching for an excuse to attack Iran. He's itching for an excuse because, as we all know, if Israel gets in a war with Iran, that means the U.S. is going to be in the military, going to run right into that war too to protect.
That's right. And
so
that means overextended, and literally everything is going to fall to pieces.
And that
think
means
it's bad now.
Hell, you think Afghanistan and Iraq were quagmires? That's nothing. Iran is going to be a bigger quagmire. It's going to cost us more, and we're going to be stuck there for a long time, maybe permanently.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to have to occupy that country permanently in order to even have some sort of functioning government there. So that's what's going to happen. And if we leave, same thing's going to happen with Afghanistan. We left, and immediately the Taliban came back into power like that within a day.
But we were also funding the Taliban. So we were funding both sides.
Yeah. At that time,
the U.S., the rich people in the U.S.
Back in the 80s, the Taliban was called the Mujahideen, and we funded them to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan.
Right.
So...
Right, we considered Osama bin Laden a hero back in the 80s.
Yes. Yeah, the Mujahideen even went to the White House, and Ronald Reagan was like, "Oh, these are they're patriots." Just like when we fought the the Revolutionary War against the British, they're just like them. Yeah, which is bullshit. But the administration. So
no, I'm pretty sure that we had the French's help only at the end.
Yeah, we had the French's help. Eventually, when they showed up
hated the Americans, but they hated the British a little bit more.
Even more.
And if I could just explain something to the audience, psst, guys, come here. Look, Israel doesn't like Arabs, and neither does the United States. Everyone hates Arabs. Well, the rich hate Arabs, and the politicians, of course. I like them in with the ultra wealthy because they are just as bought off. So. It's the ultra wealthy that own our politicians who are going to get us into Afghanistan, who are going to get us into a war with Iran, a war with China if Trump has his wet dream and it comes all over himself. I mean, this is what they have coveted for years, guys. There's more. This is what I was told by Jimmy Dore, no less. There is actually more oil in Iran than there is in Mexico, Saudi, and other countries put together.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, how dare they have our oil on their land? So of course, this is what they coveted, and that's what they want. They want the resources, just like Scott Ritter was saying before he turned to the dark side.
Hey, Go Start, Namaste, you anti-Semites.
Go Start, I salute you. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, like this is what they have wanted since the 80s, since the Iran contraband. This is everything that they want rolled up in one, and their wet dream. So they come all over themselves thinking, oh, we got it in the bag. Here we go again.
This is the quote from the foreign minister. Iran strongly warns against any aventurism by the Zionist regime of Israel. It will decisively respond to any threat or unlawful act by this regime. Argacci said in the letter to UN Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez in the International Atomic Energy Agency, Director General Rafael Grossi. We are likewise of the firm conviction that in the event of any attack against the nuclear facilities of the Islamic Republic of Iran by the Zionist regime, the government of the United States should bear legal responsibility of having been complicit therein, Argacci said.
And that means war.
Yeah, and that, it says legal responsibility. Not sure what that means, because no one's going to after the U.S. legally. So I don't understand.
No one's going after the U.S. anyway.
Yeah, I don't think Iran's going to attack the U.S.
We have over 1,000 military bases all around the fucking world, and that's just the ones we know about.
And that's what the Trump administration wants. They want to force Iran to attack. And hey, they attacked us. They attacked one of our embassies.
This is what they tried the first time. This is what the Trump administration wanted the first time when they killed Soleimani. They're third-ranked general, and Trump took him out.
The Iranians didn't respond. I mean,
right, and the Iranians went, I don't really think we should, poke the bear.
Yeah. So,
well, good for them, but I mean, Trump was like, God damn it, what do I have to do? Blow up Iran? Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
They wanted a response, a military response from Iran. And again, Israel attacked, I think, an Iranian embassy in Afghanistan. So the Iranians responded with not nuclear, missile attacks to what was that?
Right, they didn't
Jerusalem.
Their weapons,
and they responded. They responded and then told the Israelis, "Look, these are the exact how many missiles we launched, and this is how you defend against them." And none of the missiles actually hit anything, but they responded. So just to make their people happy.
You also had the Iron Dome didn't really work, and then you have Trump talking about a golden Iron Dome. I'm like, oh my God, did you fucking miss the forest for the trees, dumb fuck?
He wants to build a golden dome over the U.S.
No, it's going to be a great dome. It's going to be
golden. Apparently it's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
And then I'm going to suck a dick because all the poor people will be at my feet, and I will say, no, poor people, I hate you. I can't do a good Trump impression.
Yeah, so the Chinese already criticized the Trump administration for this. Like, oh, yeah, I mean, you're going to basically make space into a war zone. And, this is a terrible idea. But, they want to go forward with building this thing. So I don't know how.
They're jacking off. They're jacking off to this shit and coming on themselves.
Fred says, I've successfully ordered to receive my hot wings. I triumph over angels and blockade.
Okay, good. Hot wings, dude.
Good for you, Fred. Let's see.
We love you, Fred. You're a little weird.
Yeah, the Iranian diplomat called on the international community to take effective and preventive measures against the continuation of Israeli threats, which, if unchecked, will compel Iran to take special measures of defense of our nuclear facilities and materials. Iranian officials have said previously that Iran could suspend the IAEA inspections of their civilian nuclear program or move their rich uranium to undisclosed locations in response to the attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. They could do that.
They could do it, but I mean, it's like playing 4D chess. Are they really going to do it? No.
No.
They have done everything that the United States has said to do with their nuclear program. I hate to break it to you.
The Iranians, they've bent over backwards for all demands, and we still say, not good enough. We're gonna go to war, blah blah. If I were the Iranians, I would be building a nuclear weapon in secret.
I would too.
Yeah, because
we'll show those Americans.
I would build a nuclear weapon in secret and then test it somewhere in the ocean, let them know we did this. We have a nuclear weapon. You can't attack us, or else it's mutually assured destruction.
Right.
That's why we don't. So that's what North Koreans did. Because
and they kind of are pushover. Well, and North Korea actually had nuclear weapons.
They have nuclear weapons.
Iran, as we know of right now, do not. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're a little bit of a pushover, but they don't want a nuclear war with America or Israel, for that matter. That's why they didn't have a nuke for when they attacked or talked back to Israel.
Here's the thing.
I just read my my sister's what was it, story on Instagram? Is that what it's called? The stories? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a story.
I don't know,
something
I'm not
like
on
that.
Instagram.
It looks like she's falling for the Israel murder thing that happened.
Oh no! Tell your sister, don't believe in the hype. Don't believe the bullshit.
Oh shit!
It's bad for her.
Argacci's letter comes a day before the U.S. and Iran are set to hold another round of nuclear talks in Rome. The two sides have been on odds over the U.S.'s demands for Iran to eliminate its nuclear enrichment program altogether, which Iranian officials have made clear it's a non-starter, but the negotiations have continued. Despite all the hype about the Iranian nuclear program, U.S. intelligence agencies have recently reaffirmed there's no evidence Iran is building a nuclear weapon, or that the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reversed his 2003 ban or fatwa on the development of nuclear weapons and mass destruction. So there's no evidence.
I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
There's zero evidence that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, but Israel keeps insisting they are, and they're ready to attack the nuclear facilities, which would start a war. I mean, I don't know how Iran can, cannot attack or cannot respond. I mean, enough's enough. You eventually have to respond. I don't want them to respond because that means, that means war. Israel is going to drag U.S. into a massive war over
World War III. Yeah, here we go with World War III. Yeah, and that's the problem is, again, this is what the Trump administration has coveted. I'm sure Obama's coveted. Every U.S. president has coveted since 9/11, and well, actually earlier than that in the 80s with the Iran-Contra. So, I mean, all I'm saying is that this is what they have wanted for so long, and they've coveted this for so long. There's a word for you Bible thumpers. Coveted. They've coveted this since the 80s. They have wanted this for so long, and it looks like they're going to get it. And like I said, if we get into a war with Iran, c'est la vie. We are all going to die. And I don't mean rich people. Rich people can go underground, so Iranians can't get them. But we are literally going to overextend ourselves, and then they want something with China too. And I'm telling you guys, China doesn't even have to drop a bomb on the United States. All they have to do is say, okay, no more bringing your stuff over here. But I think that's why they don't, because they know companies will get pissed off because the companies all sent the jobs over to China so they could pay people less and make more money. So I don't know how that all is going to go because, again, China doesn't have to really drop a bomb on us to really hurt us. All they have to do is say, okay, no more U.S. companies coming over here and making a dime off of our workers while paying them 50 cents. No more.
They're trying to posture with over Taiwan because we for years we've had the one China policy, which
Taiwan is a part of.
Yeah, we've acknowledged that Taiwan's a part of China, even though it has the independence of being its own country. But now we're giving Taiwan weapons and military assistance and kind of posturing with China is like, okay, so it's the same thing we did with Russia, giving all that money and weapons to Ukraine. It's like the same playbook. And here we go again. They're trying to force China into a response, and that's another front in World War III.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is. I hate to beat a dead horse, but this is code for disaster. Literally code for disaster, and it's literally coming in our faces, like someone coming in your face, literally coming in your face, and you don't like them. It's literally to the point of where we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Poor people everywhere are learning that the fucking rich don't care about you. They want you to own nothing. They don't want you to live. And they don't even want you to rent. That's why rent keeps going up, but guess what? Wages don't. So they want you to be homeless in a ditch somewhere, eating the bugs and fighting everybody else, but then they have all the luxuries.
So this is from the American Conservative, but I think
By the way, Angel, did you read Fred's recent reply? Or
I'm not envious. Oh, maybe I am. I don't want hot wings right now, but hot wings and cold beer. Okay.
This is from the American Conservative. Why negotiations with Iran are so difficult. The U.S. has gotten a reputation for breaking agreements and brutalizing other nations, which this is why negotiations are so difficult. Because I'm going to read some of this, but American and other Western elites complain ad nauseum, decrying that the Iranians' intransigent, devious, aggressive, and unreliable behavior. They claim Iran will not make or keep an agreement. That's projection. Never forget, however, Iran is more than 5 millennia old with a history of diplomacy. The Iranians may be difficult, but one of their barriers to an agreement could be the Iranians' wariness of the United States' long pattern of broken agreements. Here we go. In 1945, the U.S. signed the United Nations Charter, declaring the importance of protecting the sovereignty of states. Iran was also a signatory to that charter. But 8 years later, 1953, the CIA and British intelligence organized Operation Ajax, which overthrew the constitutionally elected Iranian Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. We talked about him before.
Because he wouldn't play dice with the United States elite.
Yep, and the empowered Mohammad Raza Shah Pahlavi, the son of the first Pahlavi Shah, who was deposed in 1941 by the British and Soviets. The CIA actions were a complete violation of Article 2 of the UN Charter. U.S. embassies also armed and trained the Iranian secret police, the Savak, to suppress any opposition, often using the tired-old excuse that the centers were Soviet-inspired or supported. In 1979, the Iranian people were fed up with the oppression, overthrew the Shah in favor of a theocracy. The aftermath was terrible, but it's hard to understand why it happened. It's hard to understand what happened because most of what we know about Iran is filtered through anti-Iranian American press. Right. Many of the horror stories reported were probably exaggerated or not true. In 1980, a year after the Shah was ousted, Iraq started the Iran-Iraq War with the support of the U.S., intelligence, and other agencies. Millions were killed or wounded in a brutal conflict that lasted until 1988. American support for the Iraqis was not even diminished by the deployment of chemical weapons against the Iranians. The mustard
that would be gas. The Taliban, the Mujahideen. Is that how you say it? Am I close?
Yeah,
the Taliban. That's what they were known as in the 80s. And yeah, we supported the Taliban back then.
Yeah. And against the Iranians, despite later ostensibly righteous anger over chemical weapon use by Saddam and Assad. Assad didn't use chemical weapons. That's made up. But Saddam didn't either, I don't think. I mean, unless I'm missing something there. An important note, the U.S. signed the Hague Convention of 1899 forbidding the use of poisoning gas, the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, 1925 Geneva Protocol banning the use of poison weapons. The U.S. again signed the 1972 and 1993 Chemical Weapons Convention, which prohibited the development, production, stockpiling, use of chemical weapons. U.S. elites unashamedly ignored these inconvenient treaties in their support of the Iran-Iraq War, nor did Article 2 of the UN Charter matter. After the overthrow of the Israel-friendly Shah in 1979, the U.S. confiscated the foreign assets of the Iranian government. So again, we just robbed them of their money. Sanction of their oil exports, sanctioned Western business investment in the country, engaged in a long string of aggressive and destructive covert actions designed to topple the Iranian government. By the way, it didn't work. After all, a flagrant disregard of the UN charter, neoconservatives and other Washington elites believed it was for a good cause. So technicalities like that didn't matter. In 2003, the top cleric and supreme leader of Iran declared a fatwa against building and possessing of nuclear weapons. This fatwa is still in effect, but Iran hawks claim that the regime might in the future change or renege their fatwa. So it should be disregarded.
Depending on how far we push them.
But
again, the guy, this is like poking the bear, you know?
Yeah, they're pushing if I were the Iranians, I'd be building a weapon in secret. In a place nobody knows about. And then once we got it, I would test it.
It's a secret. Pass it on.
It's like I would test is, oh yeah, we did it. We have a nuclear weapon, so you can't attack us now. That's the only way to protect themselves, most likely from a massive, horrible war.
And here's what's going to happen. And people don't get this. They think we should just keep poking the bear and poking the bear and poking the bear. Guys, we're already overextended. We have more proxy wars and wars that we know of. We have troops in the Horn of Africa because God has forbid that wealthy white people would actually beat the shit out of black people. And we actually have a refugee of white people who are like, I'm so discriminated against. How about you go fuck yourself, cracker?
Like I said before, Jimmy Dore said many times, we're the terrorists,
Yes, the United States have become the terrorists.
And again, all that's projection about terrorism and stuff, because that's what the U.S. government does. So in the same year, the U.S.
military, what do they fight for?
The U.S. military invaded Iraq and wrecked that country. The Bush administration made a deal with Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi.
Who is that guy's name? The African-American guy who passed away a few years ago, or a couple years ago.
Mandela?
The Powell guy. Powell.
Colin Powell?
Yeah. Thanks to him.
Yeah, he was the one that lied about the disgraced himself and lied about the weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, he's like, we have evidence of mass destruction that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction.
With that very little thing that I have in my hand.
What evidence?
Which is not evidence. So
the Bush administration, they're over here.
The Bush administration made a deal with Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi to abandon many of his weapons with the promise of friendship. Nevertheless, after an appropriate pause, the neocons turned up a slander and defamation campaign against Gaddafi. At the same time, U.S. agencies were involved in a revolution that led to the 2011 bombing campaign against Gaddafi's military. This allegedly humanitarian kinetic military action led to the collapse of Gaddafi's government and Gaddafi's brutal murder on the street. So much for making a friendship deal with the U.S. The lesson to Iran and others is never make a deal with the U.S. leadership to disarm, which is 100% correct.
Yes.
That's the deal that the Iranians
but
have
also,
to learn.
If the Americans put you in, so if the government and the wealthy put you in charge of a country, guess what? In about a few years, you can guarantee you that you're literally going to have a fallout like Saddam Hussein. Hussein was literally put into power by the United States, and then they turned their backs on him.
And then they killed him. And then again, Gaddafi made the same mistake to disarm in exchange for friendship from the U.S. And then they came for him next.
We saw he died.
Yeah, then
which we were talking about Epstein.
Yeah, never make a deal. If you do, you become vulnerable to kinetic military actions in the name of peace. The former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton bragged and laughed about Gaddafi's murder. We came, we saw, we died. That infamous clip. No wonder why so many people around the world don't like us. In 2015, the Obama administration entered a treaty to prohibit Iran from building nuclear weapons called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the Iran Nuclear Deal. Iran agreed to open their nuclear sites to intrusive inspections and strict controls, and the U.S. and other Western countries agreed to lift sanctions and return illegally confiscated Iranian assets. The U.S., of course, did not live up fully to returning the confiscated assets and reneged on other aspects of the agreement until 2018, when the Trump administration unilaterally withdrew from the agreement because it was insufficiently strict. The sanctions were reimposed on Iran, as they say in New York, such a deal. So, again, we fucked the Iranians because, it's like, we never gave them back their money. We never complied with most of the deal. And then the Trump administration comes in and just withdraws from the deal. It's like, oh, yeah, here's your sanctions back, by the way. We're not giving your money back. By contrast, Israel has been developing a nuclear arsenal since the late 1950s. So Israel has nuclear weapons, and we allowed it to happen. It's like, oh, they're building nuclear weapons. Who cares? In the late 50s, and has refused to join or comply with the Non-Proliferation Treaty that took effect in the 70s. The U.S. and Iran, along with 41 other countries, are signatories of the first round in that treaty. The U.S. and Israel have complained for years about suspected Iranian violations as projection. But U.S. intelligence and the International Atomic Energy Agency, which participated in the extensive inspections as enforcement of the JCPOA, have consistently reported that Iran is not making nuclear weapons. Again, they're saying no, there's no weapons being made. On the other hand, the U.S. has for decades enabled the Israeli nuclear arsenal, which both the U.S. and Israel has consistently refused to acknowledge. Israel has not admitted to this day they have nuclear weapons, even though we all know they do. From an Iranian point of view, how is this honest or consistent? It also demonstrates American unwillingness to comply with the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Yet another example is the U.S. disregarding a treaty. So why the fuck would they trust us?
Right.
They should.
Well, and here's what's going to get me kicked off of YouTube and probably Rumble too. No, at least kicked off of YouTube. No offense, but who could blame Iran for this? And, you know, I support Iran.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, this is literally, they need a defense because they literally are pushovers. Now, I understand they don't want a nuclear war with America because nobody wins in that.
Yeah, there's another. I'm going to read this part and then I'm not going to read the whole thing because
Iran.
it's long. There's another more sinister aspect to U.S. policy. The Bush II administration tore up his predecessor's agreed framework of a deal and put the pressure on North Koreans to withdraw from their non-proliferation treaty, so the U.S. could use that withdrawal as a casus belli to attack North Korea. But at the time, the U.S. was bogged down by the Iraq War. The North Koreans took advantage of the distraction of flipping the script and built nuclear weapons and rendered the attack scenario unappealing. The interventionists have desperately looked for violations to justify an attack on Iran. If they keep up their aggression and threats long enough to avoid brokering an honest agreement, the Iranians might, out of fear and their long-standing policy against nuclear weapons, and flip the script too. That's what I've been did there. You know, if I were them, I would be building a nuclear weapon in secret, somewhere where nobody knows about, except for them. And then test it, come out with it. It's like, yeah, we had nuclear weapons too, so you can't invade us now.
Right.
So
we're framing OJ. You win. Okay. Old joke. It's just, again, this goes back to, you know, Iran needs to put their foot down and have a defense. They're like a battered woman in a very bad relationship. Don't hit me. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, one of these days, that woman is literally going to be like, okay, motherfucker, right back at you, you know?
So I put the full article in the chat if you guys want to continue reading that. But, you know, you get the point. You know, why would the Iranians trust the U.S. if, you know, if they're gonna disregard treaties and disregard agreements?
Baby, I won't cheat on you no more. I won't hurt you anymore. I won't hit you. Maybe let me back in the house.
So now let's get to the Russia-Ukraine war, which we haven't really been discussing much lately because allegedly there is peace negotiations happening, but you know, not much has come from
How many times have we seen that already?
Yeah, I mean, don't hold your breath.
Yeah, so Putin says Russia would create a buffer zone along the Ukrainian border. The next round of Russia-Ukraine talks could be held at the Vatican, although the Kremlin said it wasn't confirmed. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Thursday that the Russian forces have been instructed to create a buffer zone along the Ukraine-Russia border as fighting continues to rage despite President Trump's push for a peace deal. I have already said the decision was made to create a necessary security buffer zone along the border. Armed forces are currently solving this problem. Enemy fighting points are being actively suppressed and the work is underway, Putin said in a meeting with the members of his government. Putin previously floated the idea of creating a buffer zone in March during a visit to Russia's Kursk Oblast, which was invaded by Ukraine forces last year. Russia forces have pushed out the invading Ukrainian troops, but Kursk and other border regions frequently come under Ukrainian shelling and drone attacks. So the Ukrainians actually invaded mainland Russia. It didn't go well, but they actually did it, and that's crazy. You know, imagine.
I wouldn't be surprised, and unfortunately, that's what's going to happen because of this psyop. They're literally justifying this cleansing of Gaza via the fact that this stupid fucking psyop literally is, you know, hey, free Palestine. Yeah, but you missed the forest for the trees. It's not that. I mean, that was one thing. And really, those people were shot because this was all big psyop. It's to crack down on Palestinian protesters. It's also a crackdown on free speech. So if you go on, I would not be surprised if I put on my X right now, free Palestine. Literally, I would lose my account.
Yeah,
well, I mean, because on my X account in my bio or in my name, I have free Palestine, you know, X. Israel, Ukraine, but yet nothing's happened to me. So
It will.
Kirk's governor Alexander Kishtain said on Thursday that 12 civilians were injured by a Ukrainian strike in the town of Lgov, and that 2 teenagers were among the wounded. Ukrainians also have been carrying out heavy drone attacks from Russian territory. The Russian Defense Ministry said Thursday that the forces downed 485 drones in the previous 48 hours, mainly over the regions of Kirsk, Belgrade, and Donetsk. It's not clear where exactly Putin wants to establish the buffer zone, but a Russian lawmaker called for security corridors to be established in Ukraine's Sumy and Kharkov region, suggesting Ukraine stands to lose more territory as the war drags on.
But remember, Russia and Ukraine, bad, and we got to stop them.
That's absurd. Russia and Ukraine recently held direct talks for the first time in 3 years, but it didn't appear that progress was made towards a ceasefire. The two sides did agree to exchange 1,000 prisoners of war from either side, and the swap was expected to happen on Friday, which is today. President Trump spoke with Putin on Monday and said afterwards that talk of a ceasefire would begin immediately, but they haven't started yet. The Wall Street Journal has reported the next round of negotiations will be held in the Vatican, expect to start in mid-June, but the Kremlin said no formal agreement has been reached on that. So allegedly, the next talks will be held in the Vatican, which is an interesting place to hold it. So
don't hold your breath.
So the Russians have not agreed to that yet, even though they're talking about it to help to hold talks at the Vatican. But we'll see about that, because I'm not really buying that either. We'll see if they actually have those talks. But even then, there probably won't be a deal, because I'm sure the Russians are afraid of, look, if we do a ceasefire, then the U.S. will continue funding Ukraine and rebuild their military, and then we're going to have a massive problem in our hands. So I don't blame them.
Assange, she better be careful.
I don't blame them.
I was just saying, Julian Assange has a shirt on with all the children that were killed in Gaza. Careful, Julian Assange. You could go back to Belmarsh.
Oh,
I'm not saying I want him to. I'm saying just be careful.
Yeah, we knew.
Just be careful.
Yeah. Let's see. So, that's what's going on in the Russia-Ukraine war recently. And so, let's see. This is from Common Dreams. I'm going to go over this real quick, and before we get to our main article, and then we'll wrap up.
Before we get to our main event.
And in an intolerable attack, Trump DHS blocks Harvard from enrolling international students. This is a new drama between the war between the Trump administration and Harvard. So there's no purpose to this other than hurt Harvard and its students for not fully capitulating to Trump, a professor at the University of Denver wrote. Observers are sharply condemning a decision the Trump administration announced on Thursday to terminate Harvard University's student exchange and visitor program certification, meaning the Ivy League school will no longer be able to enroll foreign students. According to the announcement of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the move also means that foreign students already enrolled in Harvard must transfer elsewhere. The administration alleges that the school leaders have permitted anti-American pro-terrorist agitators to harass and physically assault individuals, including many Jewish students. That's what this is about. They're alleging that Harvard is allowing Jewish students to be assaulted and nothing being done. In a statement shared on multiple outlets, spokesman for the school called the Trump administration's actions unlawful. This retaliatory action threatened serious harm to the Harvard community and our country.
He wants to protect Israel by also going after Jewish students.
Apparently.
The irony.
Apparently, allegedly Jewish students are being assaulted, and the administration's trying to protect them or what? I don't know what they're trying to do. So Harvard has 6,700 international students, according to data from the school, or 27% international enrollment. This intolerable attack on Harvard's independence and academic freedom is plainly government retaliation for Harvard's speech standing up against himself and the rule of law. America must rally to the side of Harvard and its students in court. I don't really care. In Congress and our communities, Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who earned his undergraduate in law degrees from the school, wrote on Thursday.
But he wouldn't say anything if Biden did that. So
no, of course not. I mean, you can't oppose, your dear leader, the president, if he's a Democrat. I am losing my mind with the lawlessness of this administration, wrote Devin Driscoll, a lawyer on X on Thursday. The government is signaling out Harvard because they don't like it and is fighting back. Aaron Richland Melnick, an immigration lawyer, wrote that the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's action is also likely illegal. She doesn't name a single rule Harvard allegedly violated, and the SEVP certification can't be terminated discretionarily. Seth Moskik, a political science professor, University of Denver, wrote this. Nobody in the library read that. Ed Markey, Ed Markey. Trump and Noem are targeting Harvard because he refuses to back down. Blah blah.
Meanwhile, he was in that photo with AOC and Biden. So
right, Harvard has been repeatedly in the Trump administration's crosshairs. In March, the Trump administration sent letters to 60 universities, including Harvard, letting them know they were under investigation and warning them potential enforcement actions and did not take adequate steps to protect Jewish students. There's no evidence Jewish students been attacked.
Fuck you. Sorry, not you, Angel.
Yeah,
no, I mean, seriously.
No.
Fuck you. I mean, you guys, this is just utter bullshit. This is we're the victims.
Mm-hmm.
How about you go suck a dick?
Yeah.
The real victims are in Gaza and those kids that are dying. I can't help it. I'm a mother. I see images and I literally lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, I mean, there was a video today of a kid buried under rubble, and they were trying to get him out. His hand was like this. So every day, there's always new video or new pictures of that in Gaza. If they do not take adequate steps to protect Jewish students, the administration later said it was reviewing $9 billion in funding for Harvard, claiming it has not done enough to curb anti-Semitism. Again, that's what this is about. In April, the administration issued a list of demands to Harvard, which the university president refused to comply with. The administration froze over $2 billion in funding for the school. Harvard has sued the Trump administration over that funding. Trump has also said he would revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status. In April, the Trump administration threatened to prevent the school's ability to enroll international students unless they gave DHS a list of requested information about student visa holders. And that's it. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is so authoritarian.
Yeah, this is fascism 101. This is fascism at its best. And it don't get no better than this, baby. I hate to say it. But, I mean, this is where it's come to.
Going to defend this, saying, you know what he does.
Oh, but Jews have a right to be safe on college campuses. Trust me, it's not the Jews that are in trouble, motherfuckers. It's the Arabs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so over the top and absurd. Look, again, Harvard is an Ivy League institution, and I'm not necessarily pro-Harvard, but at the same time, it's like, really, dude?
But, I mean, like, look what they did with the one Arab student that, Muhammad, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
That they literally deported him.
Khalil Muhammad.
Khalil Muhammad.
He's is he still locked up, or did they actually? I don't remember. I don't see that they deported him or not. But
well, I mean, they're trying to.
Yeah, I think he's still locked up. Wait, before I get to that, there's something else I think. So yeah, I mean, it's just same old bullshit.
Same old bullshit, different day.
Yep. So let's see. I already did that.
I mean, at this point, it's getting really disgusting. I literally want to vomit.
Yeah. So we already talked about this, but real quick, I'll go over this before. Yeah, we got time. According to CNN, Israel is preparing a possible strike on Iran nuclear facilities. The U.S. obtained new intelligence suggesting that Israel is preparing to attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. The report cited officials who said it was unclear if Israeli leaders made a final decision, and the chances of an attack depended on results of negotiations between Trump administration and Iran. One source told CNN the chances of Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear facility gone up significantly in recent months, and the prospect of a Trump-negotiated U.S.-Iran deal does not remove all the Iran's uranium that made the chance of a strike more likely. Iranian officials have made clear that even the idea of eliminating Iran's nuclear enrichment program is a non-starter. Although U.S. officials continue to make the demand, CNN report acknowledged that Israel does not have the capability of destroying Iran's nuclear program without the support of the U.S. A senior U.S. official said the U.S. was stepping up intelligence collection to be prepared to assist in an Israeli attack on Iran, but other sources said it's unlikely Trump would support such a move at this time. So the intelligence agency are like, yeah, let's prepare for this. And allegedly Trump would be like, no, I don't think we're going to do that right now. Allegedly. So President Trump previously declined to back an Israeli attack on Iran's nuclear facility, opting instead for diplomacy. But he has conducted the negotiation under a threat if the deal isn't reached, U.S. will bomb Iran. The president has been threatening to attack Iran over a nuclear program, even though U.S. intelligence agencies have recently reaffirmed again there is no evidence Iran is building a nuclear weapon.
This is pretty much Trump saying bomb Iran, what John McCain said years ago. So.
Iran has successfully repelled an Israeli attack once already, and now Iran has better air defense radar thanks to Russia. The Russians have been selling them a lot of, military, assistance and stuff, so they can better prepare for an attack from Israel, which we all know is very likely coming. So the question is whether the U.S. would support it. If they do, then that's war, and if they do, that means Russia is going to come in, and that means China is going to come in, and we're in a world war. That's what that means.
Of course, they're going to support it.
Yeah. So hopefully somehow, this can be avoided, but we'll see. So let's see. Let's get to.
I literally just saw another. Why do I look at that? So, I just saw another guy, a gentleman, Palestinian, holding his baby, and it's dead.
Yeah.
As a mother, guys, this really affects me, and literally, I want to cry right now because my son just went with his dad. Now he has every right to be with his father, but it just makes me want to hold my child closer.
Well, yeah,
because I know one day they're going to do the same thing to my child, and if they do,
so many of these clips and images of
they will see a she bitch come out because I will fuck up any motherfucker that comes after my son. Don't like
you better
it,
come out right like Rambo, machine gun.
That's right. That was good for Rambo.
Yeah. So the Pentagon is using, this is from Mint Press News, by the way. The Pentagon is using fabricated Chinese threat to build genetically engineered soldiers.
China.
Yeah, so in the thumbnail for this episode, I used a picture from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare because those are genetically engineered soldiers. So that's why that reminded me of that. It's like, are we really doing this?
It Kevin Spacey?
Oh, I love Kevin Spacey in the game. They took him out because of all the things he allegedly did and put in somebody else, I think. But I love the game. His performance was fantastic in that game. On April 8th, a bipartisan commission chartered by Congress warned that China is rapidly advancing a terrifying new military threat, genetically engineered super soldiers. A report by the National Security Commission on Engineering Biotechnology urges the U.S. to respond with a sweeping effort to militarize biotechnology. It offers little concrete evidence that such Chinese programs even exist. In the name of national security, Washington is now pushing for deregulation, massive government investment, and human experimentation. Experts says this effort echoes Cold War era paranoia and threatens to erode ethical boundary in science and warfare. The Congressional Research Service fact sheet on the report claims that the content describes how biotechnology could potentially revolutionize agricultural production in the U.S., transform U.S. healthcare, and change the future of computing power. While that all may sound promising, the report's focus is overwhelmingly on use of biotechnology for military purposes. Of course, it's not about helping Americans in agriculture. It's about improving the military, and basically doing human trials and human research and human guinea pigs. While that may sound a little, I already read that, including the creation of genetically enhanced soldiers. The reports also said that biotechnology's impact on surveillance could be transformative. Of course, and now they want to use it to track us, too. The report argues that biology could revolutionize warfare just as air power did in the 20th century, promising new advantages in stealth, logistics, and real-time physiological monitoring of soldiers. It's called for fundamental rethinking how the U.S. using biotech in combat. Jesus. It's like all they want to do is keep fighting and keep sacrificing American lives. For what? For what?
I mean, we are the pawns. I mean, the military, they do not let any politician or rich person tell you that they give a fuck about the military. If that were true, they wouldn't have troops every fucking where Arabs are and be killing indiscriminately. Literally, we are your kids or your brothers or your sisters are literally in hell. And literally, rich people are laughing at you as your kids or your sister or your brother or whatever is being killed indiscriminately. So think about that the next time you see someone wear an American flag and say, "We love our troops." No, they fucking don't. Because if they really did, they would try to bring the troops home.
Oh, yeah.
It's
speaking of troops, I'm sure you may have seen it. Maybe both of you saw my the tweet I shared in one of the groups. For this Sunday's race, NASCAR race, which is called the Coke 600, the Coca-Cola 600 Memorial Day race, Pete Hegseth is going to be the Grand Marshal for that race. You know, the gentleman start your engines. He's going to
be that. I know. Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, the NASCAR is like this with the military. So, and so is the NFL. But so the NFL.
Pretty much all sports. So
that's true.
Yeah, and the NFL. In fact, the military is paying. And this scandal broke like 10 years ago. The military is paying different teams in the NFL do propaganda for the military.
In fact, didn't the military kill that former NFL player who joined the military?
Pat Tillman. Yeah, Pat Tillman. I mean, he left a $10 million contract with the Cardinals in order to go to the military because unfortunately he believed the bullshit that
he was brainwashed.
Yeah, he believed the bullshit. So he gave up $10 million contract in order to go to war, and he died. He was murdered, and turns out he was murdered by friendly fire. So he's murdered by the U.S. military.
But they all pay tribute. Oh, he's a great soldier. No, he got fucking killed by you guys.
By you guys,
and he gave up a $10 million contract with the Cardinals. So it's like he believed in this. Or else then there's no way athletes today are giving up multi-million-dollar contracts in order to go to war and then die in that war. And it turns out that the military did it. The U.S. military did it. Nobody else killed them. The report argues that winning the global biotech war, a race, will require de-risking the domestic production of defense-related biotechnology products and changing military specifications to enable biotechnology companies to sell their products to the Pentagon more easily. Repeated references also made to the need to reduce or remove regulatory hurdles for familiar products. Although the report never defines familiar products, the term may refer to controversial and experimental technologies such as CRISPR, gene editing, and mRNA therapeutics. We've heard mRNA before, so we all know what that is. So they want to inject that into our soldiers, more of that crap. By the way, get your boosters and stuff because I have to say that. NSCEB also calls for large-scale
only booster I need.
Biological databases to be treated as a strategic resource. It urges Congress to direct the Pentagon to build commercial facilities across the country to biomanufacture products deemed critical for DoD needs. The U.S. government will need to shoulder some of the risk of early-stage financing for biotechnology and encourage private investment, such as streamlining regulatory processes to alleviate unnecessary burdens and accelerate the commercialization. So they are desperate to build this stuff and to inject it into us. And we all know Elon Musk is doing that, what's that called? BrainX or
Neuralink? Chip in your brain.
Neuralink to put in your brain or whatever.
Nobody's putting a chip in my brain. Nobody's getting my biometrics because I'll tell you what, I don't want to be in the system. That's why I didn't do 23andMe and that stupid bullshit of, hey, figure out what you are, which is just a fucking cover up for literally the people who wanted your DNA so they could literally tell you, sorry, because of your DNA, you are predisposed to this, and this diseases. So we're not going to give you health care. Go fucking die, poor person. Bye-bye. Have fun.
The report's tone is urgent, and lawmakers appear eager to act, of course, because it justifies more money for the Pentagon. One day after the report's publication, NSCEB Chair Todd Young and Commissioners Alex Padilla, Stephanie Bice, and Ro Khanna
I had nothing to do with it.
Look at who joined this. Ro Khanna, the alleged progressive.
Oh,
he joined in this.
Row your boat.
Jointly introduced the national
violently down the stream.
Yeah,
he's dead.
So Ro Khanna introduced the National Biotechnology Initiative Act in both the House and Senate to set in motion a whole government approach to advancing biotechnology for U.S. national security, economic productivity, and competitiveness. Yeah, Ro Khanna joined in on this too, the so-called progressive that all the PMC liberal commentators in this space put over and talk about how great he is.
Go suck a dick.
Bullshit.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's like, I mean, honestly, Ro Khanna is the biggest hypocrite other than AOC, other than Bernie, other than all these fucking politicians that love you guys. Vote for us, please. How about you go suck a dick?
The reason why the PMCs love him so much, the liberals in this space, because he'll go on all their shows.
That's right.
He'll go on the Young Turks.
Well, he would never come on your show, would he?
No, he never come on this show.
Because we would ask him the real questions. Hey, Ro Khanna, why are you such a fucking slut for the establishment? Why do you suck a lot of dick? You can't answer that. Okay, well, fuck.
I don't think he went on RBN.
Speaking of which, Bernie Sanders, I'm sure you've seen that interview, but Bernie Sanders admitted that the Democrats are a threat to democracy.
So are the Republicans and the wealthy.
Well, yeah, he did it. I'm surprised because the party. He's a good little boy now for the party.
Yeah, he sucks that dick really good.
Independent researcher Jeff Kay agrees with her statement. The U.S., which recently conducted extensive airstrikes in Yemen and continues to support Israel's military campaign in Gaza, is, according to Kay, a dangerous actor. Independent journalist Peter Vine tell Mint Press News that the report reflects the rationally untethered paranoid politics driving the ongoing weaponization and monetization of AI in the U.S. They're also investing a shit ton of money in AI too.
Is he back again?
Yeah, he is.
I'm sorry.
Send Ro my way.
Right. So what? You can suck his dick? What do you want him to send you? Why?
No, it'd be the Kiss My Ass Club.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, that would probably what it would be.
I mean, Ro Khanna probably would do it, and he wouldn't even need $1 billion to do it.
Burns said,
by the way, Angel, to be off topic for a second, you won't believe this. Paul Goldsmith had an RBI triple.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, he's putting in, that effort. Burns says that NSCEB speculative and scientifically questionable report focused on using so-called artificial intelligence to enhance the biology of violent capacities of government-backed and corporate-supported military forces. So-called warfighters who are increasingly being cyberized and treated alongside targeted civilian masses as expendable, biologically augmented actors within the report describes as an internet of military things. Again, this is multiple video games. This is advanced Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This is Deus Ex. It all augmented and all those augmentations in your body.
By the way, about Ro Khanna, I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but I remember 2017 he was introduced by Jimmy Dore, and Ro Khanna, this was before he got in Congress. He went to Jimmy Dore's live show, and he acted like he was going to be the big progressive. He was praised by the audience and all that. It sounded like he got it and everything, but then we all know what happens. So.
Well, yeah, and same thing with AOC. She went on Jimmy Dore's show.
She went on
and
Jimmy
then
Dore
she
first.
Literally just sucked dick and became the Sith.
Did you say Tulsi? Is that who you said?
No, I said AOC.
AOC.
AOC did the same thing.
He went on a live show with the audience.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so AOC just didn't buy a ticket.
AOC went on Jimmy Dore's show first in order to get herself over as a progressive.
Cory Bush went on Jimmy Dore as well.
Yeah, they all did.
They all did to get themselves over, just like in wrestling. Guys, this is just like wrestling. You can't make this shit up. They went on Jimmy Dore's show to get themselves over, and then what they do? They said, "Fuck you" to the poor people. We are going to suck corporate dick.
And we same thing with Hassan Piker. He's not for us. He's rich, and he's. I don't know if he's really sincere about the Palestine.
Hassan Piker's not a politician, but sure. Yes.
Yeah, he's
Hassan Piker go suck a dick. All right.
He is, if you guys don't know, he's Cenk Uygur's nephew. That's why I call him, because I have no respect for the man. I won't call his name.
Okay.
So he's Cenk Uygur's nephew to me, but...
Yeah, I mean, Cenk Uygur can go suck a dick, too. He probably sucks horse dick, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's no different than wrestling. When the guys get themselves over, the crowd can't help but cheer them, even if they're a fucking heel. Like, look at Seth Rollins is a heel, and they still fucking sing his song. He's a fucking heel. Stop.
This is off topic, but they got to change his music, because they keep singing his song, and
John Cena, the whole John Cena, like, let's go Cena sucks. Pick one. Pick one. You cannot cheer for him and then boo him.
The WMBs were in my pants the whole time. If Bush only would have looked there.
Never trusted.
Hassan is playing the Zionist heel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Never trust a piker. Never trust a piker.
I never thought I would agree with Vince McMahon's mustache.
Is that from a Snatch or what?
I don't know, but it says Snatched. I mean, Snatch. I assume it's some show. I'm kind of out of touch. I haven't really watched TV in 20 years, or 10 years. But
wait, what? There's nothing on TV. TV is now old news. I mean,
I've not
now
watched,
everything is streaming.
I've kind of not watched TV for like 10 years. I mean, the only thing I watch on TV, the only thing I watch TV. Yeah, the only thing I watch TV now is sports, pretty much. So that's all I really watch on TV now.
I don't watch it because I don't watch the NFL because it's all kinds of like so scripted. Like you can tell who's gonna win. They're gonna win because you know they.
You know what's worse? You know what's more scripted? The NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA with their draft lottery, total bullshit.
Don't watch it.
Yeah, the draft lottery is like. Remember, real quick, Luka Doncic was traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers, and what a coincidence! The Mavericks got the first overall pick, by the way.
And who's the owner of the Mavericks?
I don't know.
That face.
We know.
Miriam Adelson. Miriam Adelson.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! Another fucking rich cunt.
Yeah, she's the one that gave $100 million to Trump. So now she owns the Mavericks. So again, they got the first overall pick.
About what I said earlier about NASCAR racing the Coke 600 for this Sunday. It's the first race ever. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, so first time ever NASCAR.
And you have to pay for it?
I already have Amazon Prime, so I can watch.
Yeah, it's like $10 a month or whatever it is, but yeah, Amazon Prime.
They already have like practice and qualifying sections.
I think they missed the forest for the trees. That if you have Amazon Prime, you shouldn't be charging for Prime, and then on top of that, charge even more, like AEW. Hint, hint, hint.
Yeah.
Well, no one's gonna watch your shit for $50 on top of their. For Amazon Prime, I pay like $150 almost a year.
Yeah, so about $10 a month it equals out to. The NSEB's composition reads its additional concerns. The presence of both Democrats and Republicans on the commission allows itself to present as a bipartisan body. However, it has obscured the fact that most commissioners aren't neutral experts that have deep ties to the Pentagon and U.S. intelligence community. Of course.
Shocker.
For example, Michael Rozo served as the vice president of technology at In-Q-Tel. He served as vice president of technology at In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital firm. I did not know the CIA had a venture capital firm. I got to look into that
CIA
more.
has everything.
Yeah, of course.
I got to look into that more because I didn't know the CIA had a venture capital firm.
Just like the IRS.
The firm has invested heavily into biotechnology almost since its inception.
Yeah.
According to her official NSCB biography, Commissioner Dawn Merricks led the iconic CIA Directorate of Science and Technology, defining and delivering global capabilities beyond state-of-the-art. She also served in the NSA corporate board for over a decade. In that role, she helped the agency transition to the cloud and revamp their approach to encryption. It's unclear whether she crossed in that role with fellow board member Eric Schmidt, the founder of Google, who early development was supported by funding from intelligence agencies, including the CIA and NSA. So early Google investors are the CIA and NSA. So that's why, when you search up something, they give you government talking points in corporate media.
And why would they want your biometrics? So they can control you. So if you step out of line, guess what? They kill you or they make you a non-citizen. And I mean, you can't participate in society. I don't mean like they take your citizenship or anything. But no, they make you literally a non-citizen by literally you can't do anything. You can't pay for gas. You can't pay your bills. You can't go to work. Guess what? You're fucked.
Yeah. Vince, are you talking about $12.50 a month for Amazon Prime? Is that what you're talking about?
It's something like that. It was like $140 last time I paid it, and it's getting even more expensive this year. It keeps going up and up and up and up.
So eventually, the streaming bubble is gonna blow, because every year the prices keep going up and up and up, and people are gonna have enough and just start canceling.
Yeah.
That it's like the .com bubble in the 90s. Eventually, it's gonna blow up in everybody's faces. Let's see. So I already read all that. It's unclear. Blah blah. Google was a primary beneficiary of post 9/11 U.S. national security state. A September 2021 report found that 77% of all government contracts were awarded to Google were related to the war on terror. That's including developing the Maven program, which used the AI to improve drone targeting and counterterrorism tools that disproportionately targeted Muslims on social media. Income from this program was key to supporting Google's rise to global dominance. Again, it's like SpaceX. When Elon Musk took all that money for SpaceX, and now it's a dominant force. Wasn't it the government money, he would not. SpaceX would be nothing. Another notable member of the commission is a Pentagon journeyman who, during the Reagan administration, strived to ensure Israel was equipped with U.S.-made weapons and fighter jets at bargain rates. He also was a key member of the Project for a New American Century. In September 2000, the neoconservative think tank published Rebuilding America's Defenses. The report promoted the belief that America should seek to preserve and extend in position of global leadership by maintaining the preeminence of the U.S. military forces. It also means not only invading countries, but staying in countries. We have military bases nearly 100 countries, or 100 countries around the world, or 80 countries around the world, whatever the number.
Every country, even in the fucking ocean.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy Dore pointed out in one of his videos a couple years ago.
Yeah, he literally had where the globe moved around, and there was even some in the ocean. I mean, and those are just the bases that we know of.
Yeah, that's what.
So I mean, there could be a whole bunch more secret bases that we don't know.
We have bases in Japan, Okinawa. To this day, that base is still there. And hell, we ran Okinawa unofficially for years as a colony. And there was a history of U.S. military forces raping Japanese women. There was history of U.S. forces assaulting women. And there was to the point where finally the Obama administration gave it back to Japan. Like, okay, fine, we'll let you run it, but we're going to keep our base here. By the way, we're not going to move. We're not going to leave. But
yeah, we're not going to leave and stop raping your women. God forbid we do that. No, because raping women is in the Bible. For fuck's sake.
The myth of Chinese super soldiers. I'll read this and then we'll start wrapping up. In December 2020, then U.S. National Intelligence Director John Ratcliffe directly accused the Chinese government of conducting human testing on members of the People Liberation Army.
Why do you care about fucking China? They're probably doing human testing here.
Soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities.
The about China is because they have much better infrastructure than us. I mean, all the stuff, the better subways, the trains, all the others.
Yes, but they actually somewhat care about their citizens a little bit more than they care about us. Because let me tell you something, they don't give a flying fuck about poor people.
Yeah, but this is projection, again, because the U.S. openly admitting they want to start testing on humans who are biotechnology.
I'm sure they have already. Trust me.
I'm sure they have, yeah.
Because Jimmy Dore showed, I know you know this, Alex. Jimmy Dore showed that woman where she had a chip in her hand or arm, and they showed her buying groceries, and I went, oh, because what could fucking possibly go wrong with that for people in the back?
A chip, wearing your chip buying groceries?
Yeah, remember Jimmy Dore showed the video of the woman with the chip in the arm. It was like right here, and she goes like this. She's like, I just paid for groceries with my arm.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because what could fucking possibly go wrong with that?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the fucking chip turns on you, and you actually kill yourself. That's what fucking rich people want. They want poor people to kill themselves.
You can. That's why I'm against installing anything on my brain.
Yeah,
because
nobody's
they can
touching
very
my fucking
easily,
brain. If you got a problem with that, go suck a dick. All right,
It's
seriously.
pretty much Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Another video game, right? We can reference.
Nobody's touching my brain because you wouldn't even survive in there.
That's another video game thing. You know, it's like putting stuff in your brain for augmentation and
That's
stuff.
okay. I'll just die.
I get it. I get
rather be dead anyway.
I get the applications for people who are disabled and people that struggle with, you know, moving their body and stuff.
If you trust this government, and I don't, there's no possible way they can't abuse this because they will.
No, they definitely will. I'm just saying. My point is, you know, for people like that, I understand.
That's how they.
You know,
that's how they
putting something in your brain.
It. Yes,
yeah.
That's how they advertise it. Oh well, we can put a chip in your brain, and if you are blind or if you have bad eyesight or you can't hear or whatever, you lose your hearing. Guess what? We can put a chip in your brain and make that all better now. How about you go suck a dick? Not happening.
In fact, Elon, I think it was Neuralink. Elon Musk, they're experimenting with this guy disabled, and now he's able to move his arms and use the computer and stuff with his brain.
They connect through with that, but
no. Yeah, he can connect through Bluetooth and use the computer without moving his arms. Which is
go wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean that's human experimentation. But if I were but I'm not disabled. I'm fine. I don't need a chip in my brain.
Well, they'll find something wrong with you. You have autism, or you're on the spectrum?
I'm on the spectrum. Yeah.
Boom! They'll put a chip in your brain for that.
I have autism or Asperger's, but I fucking hate that word. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Asperger's? What the hell is Asperger's? I never even fucking heard of this.
It's like a version of autism. You know, it's like a less
Huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate that word.
I never heard of this.
Yeah.
Well, my son is on the spectrum, and trust me, you ain't putting a chip in my son's brain either, motherfuckers.
Fred says the only chip I want in my head is chocolate chips.
Boom! Yes,
Fred.
I thought you wanted hot wings, though.
Would you be able to taste it, though?
Despite providing no evidence and the question whether this is scientifically possible being an obvious and open one, his comment triggered widespread media coverage, often uncritical, that persists to this day. Multiple outlets have published speculative accounts of Chinese advances in gene-edited or technology-enhanced super soldiers. By the way, there's no evidence for any of this. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the NSCEB report repeatedly justifies the urgent need for U.S. investment in biotechnology, but claims that Beijing is close to outpacing Washington in every aspect in the field. Again, no evidence. China's recent success across core biotechnology capabilities, including AI-driven drug discovery platforms and biomanufacturing, signals that they may soon exist.
Latest reply.
What?
It's
which one? Challenge accepted. Survivors switch his brain.
I think
no, the one above. No, the one that it's showing.
When Carmen sticks the burger in his pants for extra flavor. I guess I don't know. I didn't watch that episode of South Park. But trust me, Vince McMahon's mustache, evil mustache, you would not survive a day in my brain because tell you what, I have a lot of shit up there.
You're gonna have to hear "you're fired" as your alarm.
Yeah, you're fired. Or go suck a dick. That's my catchphrase.
Or there's no evidence for any of this.
No, I'm not taking Vince's. I'll make my own.
Yeah, so let's see.
Apparently, Vince said "you're fired" every time he was mad. So every time he got mad at somebody, he'd be like, "You're fired."
The report justifies an urgent need for U.S. investment. China's recent success, blah, blah, blah. The report erroneously cautions that if it happens, the U.S. may permanently use its competitive edge, but the biggest threat naturally lies in the military fear. Nonetheless, the commission, they
already did that with COVID. COVID was a bioweapon.
The commission appears uncertain on whether China has already made concrete moves in the direction of biotech weaponization. It tends to or merely exploring the concept. For example, one passage states our adversaries could engineer super soldiers and with genetically enhanced physical capabilities. Another speculates paired with new technologies like implants and brain computers interface that tap directly into a soldier's brain chemistry, super soldiers could attack our military before our leaders even act.
No.
So this is all speculation. There's no evidence for any of this.
This is all bullshit just to make you want to get a chip in your brain so they can tell you to kill yourself.
This is all just they're justifying biomanufacturing, biotech, mRNA technology, so they can all stick it in our bodies and use us as guinea pigs.
Yeah, they can use us as guinea pigs, and they can control us and control our brains and tell us what to do, where to go, what to buy, how to dress, how to cut your hair, because poor people should own nothing, be happy, and eat some and then you should kill yourself because rich people hate you.
Ghost Start says, I need a chip, broke my neck, C6 and 7. Feel like I'm going to lose my legs, at least my feet. Still not getting a chip, though.
Oh, see, even a disabled person who has their mind right, so to speak, I mean, really wouldn't do that. I mean, because they're going to, why would you trust the government? It's going to be abused. The government's going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
They already tried this, and the brainwashed idiots literally fell for it. I fell for it because I was literally told that COVID was going to kill me because I have some pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I took the vaccines initially.
I took the 2 jabs.
Yeah, I did too. There is the
pretty good immune system.
Yeah, I do too, but I fell for the bullshit. Oh, by the way, take your boosters. I'm on YouTube. I have to say that. I know, but we're mentioning it again because we're
crossing
talking
our
about it
T's
again.
and dotting our I's because I don't want Angel taken off of YouTube. But I mean, the bioweapon had already occurred when they unleashed COVID over the world, and then literally the bioweapon was then. Well, first of all, they said a flu-like thing was called COVID and it would kill you. Then they actually got the bioweapons, the vaccines, which they had been using on the military for years. Mm-hmm. Those literally were the bioweapons that they were talking about. And that's why if you got the vaccines, you were maimed or you were dead.
Yep. So I put the article in the chat, guys, because I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you get the point, So if you guys want to read the whole thing, please do.
You get the gig.
Because it's an interesting article. So we're gonna wrap up now because it's way past our
we're
time.
having so much time yelling at everybody.
Oh, I know, but it's been 2 hours and we've had a good time this week. But programming note, Pro Wrestling Talk will not air tomorrow because we're watching Saturday night's main event live on NBC and Peacock. But we'll be back Sunday at 7 to review it and discuss.
By the way, Vince's evil mustache. There is no White House counselor on the show. That would be me on Kids Show on Rumble.
For Sunday, I may not be able to join because, like I mentioned, I'm watching the race, which is on during that time. So
okay, well, if you can't join, that's fine.
We'll
figure something out.
If it's rained out or postponed, whatever, then I'll join. But
okay, I mean, if you can't, that's fine. We'll figure something out.
Honestly, we're just going to probably be talking and I'm going to be yelling about Saturday night's main event and how somewhat stupid it was because I do want to see I'm really amped up to see the Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest because I really like Drew McIntyre. But for fuck's sake, put on Karrion Kross, motherfuckers. I want to see Karrion Kross and I want to see him now.
Yeah, there is Money in the Bank qualifying matches. And
motherfuckers, do it.
I don't think he's booked yet, but they haven't announced a match with him in it yet for the qualifying match.
Right, and he did kind of talk about, how the powers to be in WWE are sort of paying attention because now they're selling his shirts at live events. So he is in talks with creative, he said. So come on, motherfuckers!
Yeah,
push Karrion Kross.
His T-shirt is like top 3 or
it's
top
a top
2.
seller.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's not even on.
He's not even featured. Yeah,
he's not even featured.
And hopefully next week, Angel and I will finally be able to do the long-awaited GTA 6.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
did you see the trailer, by the way, Steph?
I'm sorry. I have so much on my plate. I literally, my boss is getting a job and starting soon, so I need to be like the top dog at the shop, so I'm really running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I will. I promise. I will.
Yeah,
I will.
So
my neurological
we'll be able to do
system
that.
through the roof.
And also, Angel, soon we should do another baseball episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to
Dave.
Okay, but I want the Twins and the Pirates to win.
With Dave and Karen, and maybe hopefully somebody else too, maybe Savage.
Yeah. I haven't seen Karen in a couple of years. What the hell?
Yeah,
it's been I haven't been able to get her on.
Tweet like a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago, she said she was doing fine or something. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good to hear that.
Because she when the wildfires happened here in New Jersey, she reached out to me and make sure I was okay. So, I'm fine. I'm nowhere near that, but yeah, it's the last time, and I've seen her tweet occasionally, but I think she's really busy these days.
Well, because last time she tweeted like a week or two ago, it was about something. And then I was kind of trolling a little bit by posting, "Hey, the Knicks beat the Celtics Game 6."
YouTube deleted the comment.
Hey, if she nutshot you through X, I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
so
big nutshot.
So Pro Wrestling Talks on Sunday at 7 instead of Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll be on around till 9 approximately. Let's see. Angel in the Afternoon will be back next Friday, where I'm sure we got plenty to yell about again there, like we do every week.
That's just me, baby. That's just me.
What else we're gonna plug?
What time you be doing wrestling talk on Sunday? What time?
7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 7. All right.
Yeah, 7 o'clock to 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
7 Eastern. So let us know if you come on or not. If you can't, we'll figure something out.
But
I mean, we can talk about Saturday night's main event probably all night long.
Yeah, we'll
plus
be able
Money
to...
in the Bank,
Yeah, we got plenty to talk about.
As Trish Stratus would say, all night long.
All night long. That's right. Fuck that bitch. Okay. I was a big Trish Stratus fan.
These freaks have jumped the shark.
What?
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what
calling me a freak.
mentioning us,
but I'm only a freak to my soulmate. Okay.
Appreciate it though. Yeah, we're gonna end the show now. I mean, hope everybody's a great weekend. Check us out tomorrow, Sunday at 7, and hope everybody's a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you.